I'm a computer science engineer by background, and I was working as a product manager before this in Gainsight. At ISB, I am currently the vice president for the Business Technology Club, trying to study along with that. Business Technology Club essentially is the club that helps you throughout ISB with respect to all tech roles, including PM. And we have some fun activities planned now that we are off on campus. And we'll talk more about the club, I think, later in the discussion. Without further ado, I know we already delayed. Let's start today's session. The format of today's session will be a panel discussion on product management and careers in the industry. We have Vinny and Ankit with us. They are working in Amazon and Microsoft respectively. I'll hand it over to them to introduce themselves. Ankit, would you like to go first?
Sure. Hey everyone. Nice to be here. I'm Ankit. I am from class of 17, and I've been working with Amazon for about 4.5 years. Most recently, I'm working with Amazon Music, looking at US, Europe, and JP and Japan. And before this, I worked with Amazon Pay for Amazon Pay India for about 3.5 years, leading their payment experience. And yeah, so that's pretty much my product experience, about 4.5 to 5 years, and glad to be here with all of you.
Thanks, Ankit. Vinny?
Hey everybody, thank you for joining this session. I'm Vinny. I'm a product manager with Microsoft. It's been about, I think about 13 years in tech for me, about 6 of which have been in product management. So I'm from the class of 15. So I started my career with a company called Model N, and I was the platform and user experience product manager. Did that for about 2 years, 2.5 years or so. And then I got into Microsoft, and that is where I got into core Azure, the cloud platform, and been a product manager, and then grew up to being a product lead for the same product. And very happy to be here and looking forward to the discussion coming ahead.
Thanks, Vinny. We'll start the discussion with product management. Both of you are working in product management for a long time now. I think it will be useful to hear what you think product management is, and I'm sure some of the attendees are still confused on what exactly does a PM do. So, Vinny, you can go first if you.
Sure. I think what a product manager does in his day-to-day is pretty much, it kind of depends on which kind of product you own and which company you work for, where you are in that product's journey. But if I have to just simplify what a product manager basically does, is that he answers the what and why of a feature or the next thing that's going to happen to your product, right? And he's got the customer right at the center of his decision making. And all the new cool features that you see in all the popular products that you use, there is a very smart product manager who thought of it, who decided to build it, designed how it should be built, and took it for you folks to use. And is right now sitting behind in some room, looking at the metrics, looking at how many of you are actually using the product, taking a look at what was your experience with the product, and making some smart decisions behind the scenes. So yeah, that's pretty much what a product manager does in a nutshell.
Yeah, I mean, it just definitely +1 to all of what she said, and for me, I think as she said, like you come up with ideas, and you try to definitely work from customer backward and see what is really relevant for customers. You might have like 100 problems to solve, but which ones of those are really important and are impactful. So deciding that, thinking you can have multiple problems, you can have multiple solutions for those problems, but then looking at those problems, looking at the prioritizations, which are the problems worth solving, and then definitely working with different people who make it happen, who make it really happen, like engineering team or your design team or your research team, right? Working with those teams to sort of launch the product and then subsequently do all the post launch activities, and find out future improvements. So it's like a continuous cycle that keeps going on which you think of features and you launch it, and then you think of the next big thing. So yeah, definitely that. And day to day would definitely depend on, as you said, on what you're working and what is the product area all about.
Nice. Ankit, what's the most fun part about being a product manager?
Yeah, there are a few very fun parts. It's mostly a thankless job, but it's the satisfaction you get at the end of it, right? The journey to the launch is difficult, but the satisfaction that you get at the end of it, when you see people using the product, when you see product helping people making their lives better or enjoy their life better, or in any way helping, right? It's that, I think that is the satisfaction that drives every product manager, and make it possible for them to go through all the frustrations that come along with launching the product, right? It's just the end goal when customers actually use it and it really helps them either making their life better or enjoy it better. I think that's what drives me, and that's what I find the most satisfaction out of.
I think impact drives most people who aim for product management. Very impactful job.
Exactly.
Vinny, something that is not fun about your job?
Oh, like Ankit said, today is pretty thankless. But I think what I kind of experienced myself and what I hear a lot of my team members talk to me about is the copious amount of documentation that needs to be done as a product manager. And it's not just about taking that little piece of document to the customer, which is probably one of the most rewarding documentations that you end up doing, but it is the note taking, the interviews that you record, the up leveling that you do, all in in English. You're writing it, you're circulating it here and there. The specs that you have to write, the business plans that you have to write. So dreaming and solving is fun, but turning it into a one pager, two pager, and using the right lingo and all, that's, I know it a lot of people balk at it, and yeah, I think that's less fun compared to all the fun stuff we do.
Right. You spoke about lingo. I think there's a common misconception among PM aspirants that we need to be from a tech background to become a product manager. And I think that is one of the questions that we've got, the first question that we got today. Do you think we need any specific skills in technology to become a product manager?
Why don't you go first? Yeah.
You want me to go first, Ankit?
Yeah, go for it.
Sure. Do you need to be technically adept at becoming a product manager? I would say that if you can, then why not? Right. Now, I understand the question coming from folks who haven't had, maybe they did not do tech in their graduation, not coming from an engineering background, or then shifted functions and chose something that isn't engineering, specific. And we can talk about that in general. But if you have that certain background, then why not know technology enough to have a confident conversation with your engineers? A lot of your time as a product manager, despite all the stuff that we say that, hey, strategy and marketing and UX and this and that, but a lot of it is going to be just working with your key stakeholder engineering and making sure that they understand what you want them to build. And that is where some of your skills in, translating some of your lingo to technically understandable, concepts or components, that is where it will really matter. Now, what happens if you don't have that background, right? What do you do, right? So there are a host of other things. There are a host of things that you can do. There are companies which have roles where they separate the engineering interaction aspect of it from marketing, from strategy building, and some such. You could always pursue roles in those companies. And there are even other companies where they kind of expect you to be full stack. You can always show the intention to pick up technology, to pick it up enough to have a confident conversation with your team and basically drive output. Now, if you want to go from a non-technical background and start leading a technical product where what you're basically defining are things like APIs and platforms and such, you are probably going to have to work a little extra compared to somebody with a technical background. Not saying that it cannot be done, but be mentally prepared to put in the effort to learn about your domain, which could be technology, and the kind of requirements you may have to give, which might be slightly here and there technical in nature. Even when we speak of non-functional requirements, when we say, hey, is my application scalable? Is it going to be performant? Is it going to, what are the errors that you're looking at, right? So if you start thinking of these things as technical concepts and these things phase you out, then you're going to have to spend time in ramping up, getting over this mindset and working towards it. But then again, there are the other parts, which is actually choose a product management tool, which doesn't involve so much of working with engineering, or choosing a company where you're rightfully supported in achieving this.
Ankit, do you want to add anything there?
No, I think she mostly covered it. I just feel if you want to be a product manager, you shouldn't hate technology. That's number one. You should always, even if you don't know it, right, you should have the intention of learning it. Otherwise it gets like really, so I've seen a lot of people at Amazon as well, right? Like they started off as a program manager, which really closely works with product manager, and they became senior program manager and that directly jumped into senior product manager roles, right? Which is, so you don't really need to know technology going into it, but at some point you will need to talk to tech team, have a conversation around how we are building it, how future proof this is, right? Like it shouldn't happen like 2 years after I have to rebuild everything, right? So all of those things, I think as long as you have the intention to learn tech, and you have it's not about knowing tech, it's about sort of having a technical mindset. I think that would that's probably it, right? It doesn't really, you will never code, you will never deploy any code at all. You'll probably have just conversation around the overall architecture and all, but yeah, as long as you can have a meaningful conversations with SDEs, I think, and you can give this credible signals to employer that you're willing to learn and you have this mindset, I think it's good. And you have to choose carefully as well. Like don't go into platform building upfront. Choose some customer facing product which is just mostly on the user's experience rather than the backend side of things.
Right. So no coding required, but a technical mindset is helpful. Great.
Yeah, it really helps. I mean, you're much more efficient if you have a little bit of technical mindset.
Going forward from here, how do you think a person aspiring to be a product manager can upskill to that level? Upskill to a level of landing a product management job?
Yeah, I mean, I'll go if you don't mind. I don't think there is like a silver bullet to this. It's you have to break it down into smaller pieces, like classic product management, right? Like I think what you need so product management in itself is not really a skill. It's a combination of different skills that helps you deliver something that customers love. So if you think about it, the key components is basically taking a big complex area and breaking it down into meaningful pieces, which you can simplify and actually solve, versus just looking at the overall problem and trying to come up with something that works for all use cases or all customers. So breaking it down into meaningful pieces and essentially have a structured thinking around your product, right? Your thought process and your mental models should be consistent enough so that your decision making over time becomes simpler, right? If each time you have to make a decision, you have to reevaluate everything. That's not gonna go very well with the product management. So analytical thinking, structured thinking, breaking problems down into pieces, and smaller things that you can solve. And essentially, I would say there are a lot of behavioral aspect as well, which I see a lot of product management managers, like they come in as a product manager, but they really struggle in initial 1.5 year, where you don't know how to take feedback, right? That's the biggest Like you try and go defend your decision at every step, and you're very close-minded about, because you've done your work and everything, but none of that matters, right? Feedback is free, so take it, right? And working with stakeholders, being open about different point of views, and really consider them, not just just saying it that yeah, I'll consider it, and being close-minded. So yeah, that really helps in the execution part of it, right? So in the ideation phase, a person can work on the problems, take a big problem statement and define it, break it down into multiple pieces, try to come up with solutions and an incremental path to solve that problem, right? And second is, just working on your behavioral aspects, being open to taking feedback, being open to consider other point of views, and taking everyone along, so that everyone is excited to really build your product and launch a product. So I think that those are the things that have helped me, and I've learned in last 4 5 years.
Great. Vinny, how do you think this upskilling differs for different product management roles? So a tech product management from a technical company to a non-tech product manager from a, let's say, e-commerce company.
Well, there are some things that are broadly common to product management, and in the essence of it, right, it doesn't really matter which product or company that you work for. At the end of the day, you are solving problems, right? So yeah, sure. I mean, the priorities that would matter to a tech company, the agility with which things are coming out, the metrics that you're looking at, even the impact that you measure, right? It's going to be totally different for an enterprise company as opposed to an e-commerce or a more consumer centric company, which is going to pretty much put things out quickly. It's going to iterate fast. It's going to take feedback. Few things that I see, being very different is enterprise qualitative feedback matters a lot, right? Because that's the name of the game in enterprise product management, right? So when you're looking at a technical product in a company like a Microsoft or an Amazon, right, you have spent the time to understand the qualitative feedback that has come in. You spend the time to shape something out because it's an important feature. It's going to take a lot of time to develop. It's going to take time to hit the market. Adoption will take some time, and then your feedback will start coming in. So that preparedness in what you would have to put in if you are sort of working in an enterprise company as a product manager, it's just going to be so much more. And consumer, you will have the opportunity to iterate quickly. So think fast, put it out in the market quickly, get feedback, A/B testing, all of these things. A lot of enterprises, I know Amazon probably does it a little differently, but a lot of enterprises take a lot of time and thinking through to put it out. So when you are kind of being a product manager in A versus B, right, you have to adapt, right? And it could totally be that today in an enterprise, you're taking something that is a multi-semester project and it's going to land after 1 year. So what are the skills that you need? You need to be able to think it out quickly, in some time, think deep enough to plan for the next year, right? That is the skill that you need. And at the end of 1 year, somebody comes back and says, hey, this feature is not working. How about you fix it for me? But I am going live in like 2 months. So now you're adapting again. And now you are, fixing it quickly. You're designing faster. You're going, at an MVP level, you're solving the problem and you're sort of taking it out. That is the kind of adaptability and, in terms of skills that you would have to put in. Whereas in consumer, if you are, sort of in an e-commerce company, depending on it at which stage of the company that they are, right? Things like metrics are going to matter a lot. You'll have to think about them and skilling in them on day zero. Metrics driven UX, metrics driven features, that entire model of thinking you will have to upskill to quite upfront. So there's frankly, no easy answer to this, but adaptability is going to be the key there.
Yeah, I just want to add like one thing. If you are in the consumer business, learn statistics. Yeah. It's really important. Like you're doing experiments left, right, and center. Every 15 days, you have new experiment. And when you work in a company like Amazon, the metrics itself becomes so complex. It's a international business. You even have to think about some change you're making in India doesn't have a negative impact in US. right? So statistics, if you are good, you'll be at the top tier product management because you'll be good with experimentation. So that's one thing I feel like one extra thing if you're in consumer business, definitely focus on that.
So now not just tech, it's tech plus maths that you need to. So
Math is really important. I think that's more important actually.
that's very important, man. Yeah.
Ankit, you should have told me that before I gave my stats exam.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I also didn't do very well in that, so don't worry about it. You can still learn.
An interesting question popped up while you were discussing this. How does an MBA help in the product management journey? So basically, what is the difference between a product manager who directly shifted from a technical role to a product manager who has done an MBA? Ankit, do you want to go forward?
Yeah, I'll say it helps in two ways, I would say. One is just the lingo. I mean, you have to write product proposals, right? You have to have a business plan. You have to know all those financial terms which we learned in first term is, um, present value, net value of money, and forecasting and coming up with the business plan, and just writing product proposals in a way that sounds appealing, right? Sometimes a good idea can be thrown out just because it's not written well or it's not communicated well. So when you do an MBA, when you write, when you attend some classes, you understand the language that you need to put down your thoughts into, so that they're more impactful, which is more about the 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 product proposal ideation phase. But also I think statistics is definitely helping. If you know that, it's going to help you in product management. Also, some of the things that you learn from a behavior point of view, right? There's a class in fourth term which is business communication, right? I now remember what I learned. Like when I encounter those situations in my workplace, I saw Kanish's face and telling me this, that this is how you take feedback, and this is how you take everyone along with you. So the language, the maturity that you get in your thought process, thinking not just 1 year out but also 3 year or 5 year out, which comes with analyzing businesses, doing the case studies that we do, right? Really helpful thinking for the long term. And definitely the behavioral aspect. So everything sort of comes together in MBA. People might have done these things in isolation here and there, but in MBA, sort of everything comes together and prepares you to do this job well.
Vinny, do you want to add anything?
Sure. I think it's not about a MBA, it's about the right one. So you have to firstly choose one which gives you the lingo that Ankit spoke of, the structure that we are repeatedly talking, that you get out of box once you come out of that B school. And we are like two biased alums and one current student talking, in the ISB context. But there is a lot of method to the madness that just a degree course in ISB and the way things are taught, the whole culture that we build in ISB, right? That imposes on anything that we do going forward. So two things that I really benefited from was the strategy models that we built, some of the value chains. I still build it for my products. I look at the value chain. I look at, where do we start from and where do we end at? And this is something I'm naturally attuned to thinking about because it's something coming out of the B school. Can somebody also think of it? Somebody who's not gone to a B school, can they research into it? Sure. But the school has just sort of equipped me to do it faster. That's the benefit of a formal degree. The other thing where I speak specifically of ISB, where they score, is the organizational behavior courses. It's not just important to have the right idea, have the right document, but the ability to influence change, right? Across levels, across teams, when nobody's reporting to you. Frankly, most product managers are individual contributors. We make individual impact, which spans teams and actually comes out as business impact, right? So just a delivery is not enough. We work across the stack, right? But to be able to confidently, without losing motivation through conflict, be able to handle the changes that are coming in, be able to talk to different people at different levels, understand where they're coming from, it is just so much easier after an ISB MBA, because you have the tools and the frameworks to rely on. You look at a problem and you're like, hey, I've read about this before and I remember it being solved very effectively in some case. So let me quickly refer to it and come back. Right. So an MBA, the right MBA, really prepares you for all of these things. It just becomes easier. That's pretty much it. It's not that you cannot do it if you don't have an MBA, but like I said, you will have to ramp up, and you'll have to ramp up pretty fast, because there are a lot of MBAs who are product managers today, and they will be using these toolkits in their day-to-day work.
Got it. And how do you think ISB helped you transition or get a job in product management, Vinny?
I think firstly, I'll split it into the three things that I spoke of in my ISB interview. Why did I come to ISB? I came for the curriculum, right? Smart, new age, up to date concepts which are presented to you in such a way that in a short period of time you're able to grasp it, and that you're quickly able to absorb it. Not just the traditional aspects of management, strategy, marketing, technology, IT, management, operations, but organizational behavior. Talking, how do you take feedback, right? Just purely on curriculum, right? The second thing, my peer group, super smart, highly ambitious people, always striving to do better than the best, right? And to do it, in a continued fashion, to be committed to putting their best foot forward, right? Everybody across the batch does that, and that really takes the bar up, right, in terms of what you are delivering. It just goes up. And even when you come out and you look at your peers, the work that they're doing, you want to do like them. You want to do good work just as they are doing, right? So my peer group, and then the support that the CAS and the alumni relation team provides in making sure that if you have chosen to pursue something, maybe it's consulting or product management, they will connect you to alums. You will speak to the alums who've done it before. They will be reviewing your resumes. They will be reviewing your frameworks. They'll be doing mock dry runs with you. And as we will get the opportunity to you, they'll say, okay, there is an opportunity sitting inside that room. Are you prepared enough to walk in and convert it for yourself? That is the value of an ISB MBA, or any sort of similar course that ISB puts out, right? It prepares you to, it gives you your best shot at converting that job. So yeah, that was what it was for me.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think she's covered it, to be honest. Like those are the three important things. If there's anything, I mean, ISB also helped me to, think more strategically and more structured, right? Like if you ask me before ISB, you give me a problem, I'll probably give you a solution, but I'll not know how to evaluate that solution, how to evaluate alternate solutions, how to sort of make decisions, right? And when you do all those case studies, when you really just work with your peers, you anyway have to make a lot of important decisions in ISB, and the support system. So yeah, as she said, like if you're here, you definitely have the best shot at getting wherever you want, and not just product management.
One thing that I can add to that is ISB is giving me the confidence to say that I can do it. And I think that is very important for a product manager. You interact daily with tens and hundreds of people at times, and the confidence to speak your own voice in front of everybody is something that I think is helping a lot right now.
Definitely.
So the next question is around growth perspectives in product management. What are the career paths that we can take? What are the exit strategies that we can take? And does it help in starting your own business, your own venture in the future?
Yeah, I mean,
Ankita.
yeah, sure. So yeah, I mean, in terms of career path, you start with product manager, you go to become a senior product manager, and then principal product manager, and after that, it's anyone's game. Whatever you want to do in the company, you sort of they are very highly valued, principal product managers, and then they can pretty much get into whatever role they want to, even strategy, anything. Right, so that's the logical step. I think in product management, when you just join, you're probably focusing more on execution rather than ideation, and then when you become a little senior, they give you like, you'll get a more complex problem to solve where you'll have a multi-year vision, right? And that's where you'll still focus quite a lot on execution. And that's where senior product manager, I feel like, is that where you have to really prove yourself in both the aspects, not just execution, but ideation, influence, without authority, all of that. And when you go to principal product manager, essentially it's more about, you probably are sort of owning end-to-end one part of the business, where you are just setting the vision 5 year out, 10 year out, what it's going to be, and delegating, and also helping other product managers, right? Mentorship is a very important aspect of product management, and you can't grow until you grow people around you. So that's it. And after principal product manager, do whatever you want to do.
Vinny, do you want to add something to that?
I think I'll just sort of extend what Ankit said and convert it to, the products, not so much in terms of levels and designations, because they may change across teams. But in a sense, it pretty much remains what Ankit said. A senior will become a principal, or a associate director, and all these words come into the picture. But essentially, you start with owning a feature and leading it end to end. And then you grow into leading a product, and sort of grow into leading a group of products. You start thinking of strategy. While you're thinking of the feature strategy, now you're thinking of a product suite strategy. What is it going to look like, 6 months from now, 1 year from now? And that's not a one-time job, because the world is evolving around you. And then it slowly grows into, handling P&L and stuff. And then if you think of the transferability, right? The essential skill, even at a feature level, is entrepreneurship. How do you work across barriers and get it done, right? Solve that problem, deliver a solution, right? So can you start your own business? Absolutely, right? That's one of the things that we look for in product managers. How can they convert this into a business with minimum coachability? Once you start sort of thinking, going on the strategy direction, there's nothing stopping you from getting into tech strategy, tech consulting. We see folks moving from product management into the whole venture capitalist area, where they start becoming technical evaluators, right? And then, or they would go to a consulting firm and become the tech consulting side of things, right? Maybe move to BCG, McKinsey, and do that. So a lot of transferability. You can start something of your own, and you may not need tech for that. So you don't have to worry so much.
Thanks for that, Vinny. Vinny, you spoke about the mindset that product managers generally need to have, that is converting a solution into and gathering its business value. How do you think aspirants can develop that product mindset or start thinking about everyday products in that direction?
Pretty generic answer here, but read up. First, read about what you want to do. Is it the right thing for you, right? So, basic things like know what needs to be done, right? So read up, reach out to people, find out, what are their experiences of solving a problem in product management across, layers. You'll realize that they all have their nuances. And once you understand that, right, start practicing. Put that customer front and center. When you're reading, you'll come across frameworks and books and, problems that you can solve. And then you can actually compare how other people are solving. Are you demonstrating a customer obsessed solution, right? Are you able to design? Are you able to do product design? Are you able to do experience design, tech design? Are you able to confidently convert it into smaller problems, which can be achieved in isolation, and then sort of stitch the thing together? And a lot of practice at doing it with your everyday product, applying those frameworks to everyday products, thinking of what you can do with those products next. All of that sort of is going to come in handy.
Ankit, do you want to add anything?
No, I mean, I'd say read books. Like there are a few books which helped me. So just probably won't work for everyone, but when I joined ISB, I really didn't have any product experience before. So just to get myself that kickstart, I read a few books. I think how to crack a product manager interview,
Interview.
and design of everyday things. I think design of everyday things is really will give you a lot of mental models to work with. How to really think about how does a cup have a handle, right? Like, why does a cup have a handle? Or like, when you think about those basic things, it may look silly, it may sound silly, but those are the concepts that you take, right? Just the problems becomes different and you just solve it a different way. But how to break it down, how to think about a problem, how to come up with a solution, those books can definitely give you a kickstart onto that.
Two books that we are reading with the Business Technology Club right now are, one is Swipe to Unlock. It's great for non-tech people to learn about technology. And the other that we finished was Hooked. I think gives a great insight into how products are built and how can we think about the customer. There was one more question on customer. In general, we say that the customer is the king, but it is also said that the customer does not always know what they want. So how do you go about understanding the customer's problem and then subsequently finding a viable solution for it?
You want to go?
Sure. But customer is king, but it doesn't mean that his word is law. I think we're just kind of sort of, reading it differently. There are tools and techniques based on what you're planning to do, which help you understand the need better. And that is where I say structured thinking and, knowing your toolkit and all these things help you know what the customer wants, right? You could be just exploring a persona, right? I'm going to break it down into the king himself. What is his persona? The questions that you would ask, the frameworks that you would apply, just to understand what is his day-to-day job and what is the journey that he takes to accomplish those those jobs, right? When you start from that, right, that'll give you an insight on, oh, these are the things that he's doing, these are the potential pain points, right? And then you'll start thinking of exploration. You'll take those ideas, you'll convert it into something, but you'll have so many that prioritization will become a problem. And then you'll start thinking of other technology, other tools like moneyballing, where you say that, hey, I have so many great things for you, but how are you going to prioritize? Which one would make the most sense to you, right? So there are lots of these toolkits which, depending on what your intention is in talking to the customer, they will come in very handy in interviewing the customer, identifying what needs to be built, and ultimately stack ranking them in such a way that the most impactful feature sort of goes out to the customer's front and center. And then, of course, there are toolkits that will help you evolve and evolve those products in such in a certain way. So I strongly suggest, like, starting from the start and really understanding the persona, understanding his journey, identifying the pain points, and then think of solving that. That's been my experience.
Ankit, in doing this, how important is domain knowledge? So if I'm working on a fintech product, how important is it that I know about finance?
Not much, really. I mean, unless you're working at JustPay or Razorpay, really tech things. Most of the times, they're more focused on customer experience, right? And technology part. I mean, of course, like like when I worked in payments, I will read RBI circulars. I will stay updated on what's happening, especially in payments. Things change very quickly in India. So you need to know, what are the rules coming up. Now we have to store all the payment data in India. We can't store it anywhere else. So we really have to keep yourself updated on that. But it's not a tough thing to do. I don't think that's like, I haven't had anyone who has really had a challenge with that. So domain knowledge, when you work on something, you will anyway have, right? If you're working in payments, every day you are, tackling issues. Okay, the refund has not gone out. Which system is it failed? So you already know so many things about the domain, and then you already you're spending your life, right, and 9 to 10 hours working in that domain. So you anyway know these things. So I don't think like that's something to be really concerned. It's just, if you're diligent in working and doing your job right, I think all of that sort of comes naturally.
Got it. There's a fun question in the chat. What was the most fun feature or product that you guys have worked on? Ankit, would you like to go first?
That's a tough one. Like I worked on some like, so I am a huge statistics person. Like I'm a little nerdy about that, and so yeah, I did some projects with machine learning where we started. So in India, if you look at, like when I was at Amazon Pay, the payment success rate in India really are not that great because of multiple reasons: bad network, bad banking infrastructure, and we have like 17 things you can pay with in India, right? In US, if you look, it's just like credit card or debit card, right? We have like 17 different things customers can pay with, and different offers and different success rate and different 10,000 things with those options. So when we use some machine learnings to just simplify that overall cognitive load of, okay, what should I pay with, what is the right thing for me to pay with at this point in time for this particular purchase. So looking at multiple customer features, their preferences, and their propensity to lean towards either rewards or lean towards reliability. Yeah, so that was a lot of fun. It didn't really happen in one go. So like within many other machine learning things, you have to spend your fair amount of time to get that model right. But yeah, those were some things which were not uh, you know uh, just purely CX or UX driven, but some deep thought went into it, and was really rewarding in the end when we saw the impact it created.
Vinny?
Uh, well, I can answer this question, but you probably all of you are going to judge me on my definition of fun. But so basically, I've worked in enterprises throughout, and fun can be nerdy. So I think the most fun that I had was when we took these two products and we made one product out of them, and that's just putting like one that's like a one-liner description of a multi-semester work. I think it was a lot of fun. Why? Because the problem was challenging. It's always difficult. It's easiest to build something ground up. It's very difficult to take two existing legacy things and make something brand new out of it. It is it is
Plus
a
one,
nightmare to
yeah.
begin with. But the fun of that was, of course, since it was a multi-semester journey, uh, persevering through it, through the ups and downs, and you're high 1 minute, and then second minute there's this roadblock, and then you're doing this month after month after month. And because of this, the team that sort of delivered the project, it was a super fun time for us. We were brainstorming and we were designing together, and we were working across constraints, and ultimately when it went to the market, I think my team, my engineers, my designers, marketing, documentation, they were about just as excited as I was. And that was the fun element of building something difficult and actually releasing it after a year. So that was fun. Yeah.
Nice. Uh, your whole team was as excited as you, but the ownership generally falls upon a product manager in case there is a failure. So, have all the products that you worked on succeeded? And what happens when a product fails?
Um,
Uh, Vinny?
okay, go ahead, Vinny. Yeah.
Oh, so have all my products succeeded? No. So products, you don't. So there is that product managers are optimistic people. We don't really, openly say that, oh, it's failed. You're like, no, wait another 6 months. Wait, let me try this one adoption strategy. Right? Let me fix this one little bug, and it's going to succeed. But yeah, it comes in waves. And what happens when it fails? First up, there's a lot of nervousness, and you're like thinking, oh my god, what do I do? Who should I talk to and stuff? And then you just sit up, get ready, and fight that battle. You talk to your stakeholders. Um, see what went wrong, and you do. Again, some models come in place, right? You start thinking back. Hey, what went wrong? What is the problem? Go to the root of it and start fixing, and then One thing that I can say that inside of failure, don't lose your integrity. Don't create truths. The reality, embrace the negative. Sure, it didn't work. Just embrace it. Communicate it to the right stakeholders. That, hey, this happened. This was an incorrect decision, and this is how we rectify it. As long as you are honest about it to your customers, to your leadership team, um, it'll help you even solve the problem better because you have honestly embraced the problem. You've accepted what was wrong as opposed to what is in your mind, what could be wrong, right? So embrace the negative and then formulate a communication plan. And when you are formulating a communication plan, don't just accept and wait for it to fall on your head. Be smart and have a plan B. Have a solution. Frame a solution when you accept your mistake and say, "Hey, this is my mistake, but this is how I'm going to fix it." That is growth mindset. That's how you go about this.
Ankit?
Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I mean, most people just like what she said. It's really easier said than done. Like initially, like I really had a hard time accepting failures, you know. But yeah, once you've accepted yourself, which is just the biggest, I think, you know, mindset change that you can do. After that, the journey is actually easier. Nobody's out there to get you, right? Like people accept that, you know, product managers are human. They will make bad decisions. As long as and it's like a failure is not really a failure. I know it's cliche, but everything is a learning, right? Like even if you fail, you can drive so much learning that the next product that you're building is going to be so much better because you failed at this one, right? So it's not, there are no real failures in product management. You just have to you know, learn to communicate it in a way. Don't go to leadership with problems, go to them with solutions and see, okay, this is what I recommend. Do you agree with me? Take feedback. So it's more about communicating that, hey, this is how we took the decision when we did it, and this was the assumption that turned out to be bad, and here is how we're going to do it in the future, right? So analyze it, and when you present it that way to people, your thought process, why the mistakes have, why, like answering why the mistake happened is really more like really important rather than mistake just happened, right? As long as you do that, I don't think like anybody is out there to just get you, and you know, you can still rectify your mistakes, you can learn from your mistakes and become a better product manager.
Ankit, when we speak of communication, how important do you think persuasion skill is important for a product manager?
So I don't think there's anything called persuasion skill. I think it's boiled down to much more deeper things that go as an input to persuading someone. Having a strong logical argument, right, which is unbiased, right? The most of the time, product managers will fall into the trap of their own mind, right? In our mind, something sounds cool, so we'll try to make it cool even on paper, right? So writing things down definitely helps, and Amazon is notoriously diligent about this. You have to write so much. I don't think you write that much anywhere else. But when you really put your thoughts down on paper, things which are all rosy in your hand, in your mind, can really, you can see the truth and see for what it is, and evaluate whether this is a good thing to do, whether this is worth doing, and yeah, just take it from there. So essentially, uh, just working that in that model, right, where you start with a problem, and just um, the communication part is an important aspect to it. Like in another way, if you just think about it, right, if you have an idea, right, and you can't get people excited onto it just because you can't communicate, right? That's where all of that comes into picture, right? When you have the lingo, when you have a framework to explain something, we are very limited by the language we speak, right? We have complex ideas in our mind, and we are just trying to communicate them through the language we speak. And language, the better you are at communicating the thoughts that are going into your mind and expressing it in a good way through the language, I think then only you'll be able to get people excited, get funding for your products, and you know, even like the execution part of it, right? So the communication, definitely verbal and written both, are super important to be successful in this role.
Got it. Vinny, from our discussions up till now, the PM role is sounding a lot like a CEO. And there's a common saying, a PM is a mini CEO of the feature or the product. Somebody has asked the question if it's actually true. Uh, is the saying actually true?
Well, yeah, there's a lot that's said. We also said that it's not a fun job. I don't know why you didn't read that, but well, yes, it's all in the mind. Yeah, if it's all about what is a CEO. It's about ownership in your mind. Are you as passionate about your product or feature, whatever you own, as much as a CEO, right? Is that the level? It's about comparing ownership levels, right? I, in my mind, live and breathe my product, right? It is super important for me that my product succeeds. Pretty much the same for a CEO, right? So it's a mindset thing. It's what you will bring to your product. It's not something the product will give to you. That hey, now you're the CEO, so now you do it. And you're like, hey, I'm not excited. How can I be the CEO? That's not how it works. But in terms of day to day, pretty much the things that matter to a CEO should matter to you. Whether your product is hitting the right note in the market, what is the competition looking like, actually operationally making your ideas happen, dreaming big for your product. These are common traits that are not just for product management applicable on a CEO. Probably a consultant does it as well for anything that he is evaluating, right? Towards his end deliverable, he's making it happen. So I think it's a mindset related question. Uh, yeah, that's how it is.
Great. Speaking more about the industry, technology industry in India, how do you think the product management role is today? And how do you think it will evolve in the next 5, 10 years? Ankit?
Mm, yeah, I think that's really tough question to answer, to be honest. Things evolve very quickly, and the best you can do is adapt. But yeah, I think it's amazing that how many people want to get into product management now. Like literally everyone I meet over the weekends, right? Either they were a consultant or they are into strategy or anything, right? It's really surprising to me that how many people want to get into product management. Of course, like if you like building things, and you will get that satisfaction out of this role. And in terms of opportunities, I think this is probably as good as it ever has been, right? There's so many startups, so many new companies, bigger companies investing more money in India, right? Like Amazon and Microsoft and other companies. So it's a really good time to be a product manager. You very much in demand. You always you don't have to think about uh, anything related to whether it's going to be gap or anything. But yeah, it's really currently it's really good. How it's going to be, I think it's really tough to like some outsized technology innovation might just probably product managers are not even needed in 10 years time, so you never know, or machines are making all the decisions. So I mean, there is always be some value for human ingenuity, so I think it's going to be relevant for if not products, then you'll build machines. But it's the mindset. It's how you think about something, how you think about a problem. So it's always sort of going to be relevant for the foreseeable future. So definitely a pretty good time to get into this domain.
Okay, you scared all of us.
I'm more optimistic about the future than
Definitely. I
So
watched a
Vinny,
lot
you're
of
correct.
YouTube videos. I might be biased.
Machines will replace people, but I am hoping not product managers.
Yeah, I mean, product managers will build machines then, so it's fine. We'll build something.
Isn't that what we are all doing right now?
Yeah.
I think at the end of the day, right, a lot of companies are becoming tech companies, right? Operations is now tech. Everything is being tech driven, right? And this is all deep tech. I always say this: the easy problems are done. The whole startup system and the way it's picked up, this for that, the first in the market, all those easy things are kind of covered. Now innovation is tech. We see all these companies like Uber and even Amazon. Tech is central to what they're doing. That is their innovation. You look at a Netflix, it's not so much about the movies that you see. It's about the tech and the data that is driving what you're going to see tomorrow, right? And because things are so deep, you will need specialists. And then you will need that one person who's going to take all this information from all these specialists and give it out to the customers. I think we're going to be very much relevant. Probably, product management as a function started with just technical products and tech companies, but now you see it really going out to startups where you never thought, what is a product manager even going to do there? And they are front and center in the game. It was the same for technical products. Like I speak for Microsoft, right? It's been belting out technical products, and you look at a cloud and you look at a platform and you think that I can speak for myself actually. I was a platform product manager, and when I got the role, I was asking my manager, what am I going to do there? There's a bunch of engineers, let them build, let them scale, let them be performant. And it was one of the most high visibility roles that I have been in my years of PM, because there's so much value that you bring in, just tying the things together, converting it into business impact, making these tech dreams a reality across functions, right? So I actually see the product management function going beyond the industries that it is in today, and really sort of driving that transformation, digital innovations. That's the lingo, that's the jargon, right?
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Annie. Thank you for
Are
that answer.
you optimistic now, Pragati? Are you feeling
Yes.
happier now?
Balance it out, man.
I am.
Yeah.
No, I mean, like a lot of other companies, like some electrical vehicle companies. I just got a message the other day. Ather Energy is hiring product managers. I don't know what they're going to do, but like maybe the one screen they have in the vehicle. But yeah, as she said, yeah, it's going to go into definitely other industries which are not doing it right now, just because it's really efficient and you can get things done.
We have non-tech product managers here who come from a mechanical background, and we are organizing peer-to-peer learning sessions with them because we need to stay relevant.
Yeah.
Okay. How does one decide on what kind of product manager roles are they ideal for, and then how do they go about preparing for it? MBA is definitely an option, but what do we do in MBA or outside of MBA? Vinny, you want to go first?
Sure, I think I kind of hinted at it in one of my previous answers. To know what is your skill set in product management. First, read up, find out what other people are doing. People write very elaborate stuff on LinkedIn and Medium and everywhere. So there's a lot of content already out there. So probably one evening when you're binging on something on TV, just flip through, the companies and what product managers are doing in those companies. So frankly, MBA or no MBA, there is no substitute to the research and groundwork that you're going to do to find out what the role entails across functions. Uh, when you're done with that, reach out to these people, get their perspectives in, find out what is the reality of the game, and then see where and what are your skill sets. Are you technically forward? Is that your skill set? Is this something you've been prepared for? And then sure, all the tech products are open for you to try your win in, right? Do you have like a design bent of mind? Are you super smart about where people are clicking, what they're doing and stuff? User experience product management is for you, right? Are you great with you're not so much with with strategy and these things, but you are very much into driving change across products. You are that negotiator who can work across teams and get it delivered. Technical program management, you're a great fit for that. You will grow very well. And then if you have a more strategic bent of mind, then there are companies where they literally split the function, like I said, and their product managers simply about looking ahead, looking at the market, strategy, trends, making sure that the domain experts are matching what is happening. So frankly, there is something for everyone, but till you research and you reach out and you do your bit, you're not going to know whether you're fit for it. And this is also what's going to aid in you preparing yourself for it. That's when the books that we spoke of, the frameworks that an MBA gives you, and again, more reading up on the function that you do, that helps. Another thing that I've seen a lot of product managers benefit from are these rotational product management programs that Facebook and a lot of other companies run. And then you really get a sense of different phases of product management. One point you're for like 6 months you're doing adoption. Second time you're designing a feature, B feature. So that's fun as well. So and actually it really gives you the opportunity to learn on the go because it's a rotational program. So you pick up as much as you deliver. So yeah, all these options are there for you.
Nice. Rotational programs. Amazon is also launching a rotational program for product management.
Oh, interesting.
Ankit, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, as she said, there's no substitute to research and talking to people, right? I think research is important. Like one of the things that we used to do, like with BTC, like we'll just take 5 products, right? And we'll just say, okay, what are the 5 things you want to build into this? And what are the 5 things you want to take it out, right? And when you look at, okay, what are the things that you are thinking of, right? Are those more backend features? Are those your CX or UX centric, right? And that's where you decide to learn about yourself, like what am I better at, right? You might be able to do everything, but what do you really enjoy doing, right? Because you can, like, if you really put your mind to it, you can really do anything, but in the long term you only want to do things that you really enjoy. So you start to understand, okay, I am thinking in a way that this sort of like a platform feature, or this is like a UX feature, this is more like experimentation, right? Working really fast. So when you do some research and talk to people, you start to understand yourself and the things that you enjoy, because even in product management, as she said, right, as Vinny said, a company and a particular role in a company could really differ, and your experience could be very different in both of those, in any of those roles. So it's important to understand what you like to do, so that you can do it well for a long period of time.
I just want to add to that, right? This is where the B school thing really helps because uh, PM Engage workshops, the PM challenge that Microsoft brings year after year to Microsoft, to ISB and to all these colleges, where you really get that opportunity to take a problem, which is literally an enterprise grade problem. It really exists in the market and try your chops and then figure out how good or bad you are at it. And once you've done that, you get a chance to see, hey, how are other people approaching the same problem? What is their method? How are they scoring there, right? What did that method lead for them? What did they get out of it which helped them in solving that problem? So I think different companies giving you all these measures, speaking specifically of the deep engagement that we do across colleges from Microsoft, the PM Engage, the PM Challenge, all these things. So you should take a stab at it, and that'll clarify a lot of things for you.
We recently did. We were given an enterprise level problem, and we spent 3 all-nighters figuring out what the solution should be.
I know,
If
I've been
we,
a part of the team. Yeah, I know.
And Vinny is going to steal all of those ideas now.
I am okay
I
with
might
that.
hire you at that.
Okay. One question that has come up is, how is your work-life balance as a product manager? I
Yeah,
should
I
not be
think
asking this.
it's pretty good, like considering other roles. And that's one of the reasons that everybody wants to get into product management, let's be honest. Like if you're a consultant, you're working there really too much, and it's good when you start right after B school, but 5 years into it, you probably want to have a better work-life balance. So it's good, like at least, like I can't speak for everyone. It really depends on the company you are and the role you are into that company. But in general, I feel like it's like, for me, it's been really good. I work like 9 to 10 hours a day, and you have to be prepared to deal with some emergencies. Sometimes, there's a bug in production. You might have to do some weekend, but generally it's pretty good. Like it's really good, and I think a lot of people really want to get into product management at a later stage, just because of the work-life harmony it brings. So I would say, yeah, it's nothing to be worried about, only good things.
Vinny?
I think a lot depends on the company, the ecosystem. How supportive are they to ensuring that a product manager has a work-life balance? Uh, and then also, it is about the ecosystem kind of budgeting time for you and any other employee, in any other function, really giving you the time to establish it and putting that expectation that your work-life balance is important to you, otherwise you're going to burn out, right? So it's pretty much important. uh, how it happens, how it ultimately turns out to be is, it's a sinusoidal curve, right? So there are these high intensity, high output stretches of weeks, and then you are slightly more relaxed, and you kind of that's how you coast, a typical this thing. But I think a lot also depends on the person, right? How effective are you at time management, at time boxing? There are so many tricks and tactics. One trap that most product managers fall into is doing everything themselves, right? Oh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. They don't really reach out for help at the right time. Sometimes the ecosystem is not such that it's appreciated that they come and they ask for, hey, you're the product manager, you should have the answers, right? Now that starts taking more out of you than it should, so that's when problems start taking longer to get solved, and you're getting distracted and you're doing so many things, right? So I think I think the function cannot so much support be blamed for other things that dictate your work-life balance, which is your company, you yourself, and how good you are at meta execution or delegation and these things. And at the end of the day, one thing that I can speak for myself is, I'm obsessive about my product. So if I am sitting over the weekend and reading about the latest and greatest in my products because I want to do it, and I don't necessarily take it out of my personal life, even if I do so, I do it willingly. It's equivalent to maybe spending that time away from life and spending it in that fancy game which is on your mobile, or a LinkedIn article about something else, right? So it's not so much an expectation of the function, it's your personal interest in what your personal whatever time management skills and stuff as well.
Great. Last question. What did you both do at ISB to shape your journey to product management? What clubs, what specializations were you involved in? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, BTC definitely helped a lot, to be honest. We do not really like, there were formal things, right? Seminars and all of this stuff, but just that it gives you a great group of friends where you can, without being judged, come up with even stupid ideas and get feedback on that. So those exercises, we'll just sit in LRC and just come up with 5 products that we want to evaluate today, right? And just see how we think about those problems, how we think about improving them, or how we think about even deprecating them, right? So BTC definitely talking to similar like folks who have similar interests, right? Like then it's basically a mutual beneficial relationship that you just surround yourself with people who want to do the same things, and surround yourself with people who probably you think are better than you right now, and all of that rubs onto you. And just in terms of you, if you just purely, so that's the major part of it, that's the major help that ISP gave. And if you just talk about from the curriculum perspective, I think the subject that's really helped me were statistics, financial modeling, and business communication, and some data analytics and all. So those are the things, but I would say still the most part of the help that comes is from your peers, and just learning from them and surrounding yourself with the right sort of folks.
Got it. Vinny, was yours any different?
I really took my ISP journey as as one of the last few opportunities to be in college and to really explore, right? So my majors were strategy, marketing, and public policy, of all the things, right? So it was all about exploring, and I took courses in healthcare and stuff, which don't necessarily translate to product management, but problem solving, the business cases that we built in our assignments now. But all that is the simple stuff. Like Ankit said, right? The people around you, they are your support system. When you sit and say, hey, I don't have the faintest idea how to solve this product. There are a few smart people who they'll support you through discovering it for yourself. There'll be smart people who will have the answers and they will make you very nervous. They're like, oh my God, isko sab aata hai, I don't know anything, right? But the support system, they will teach you how to fish, right? These are the ones when you don't when your resume doesn't get shortlisted, these are the ones who will sit with you and they will work on your resume with you. They will do mock interview preps, they will do mock cases with you. So just simply the peer group, the support that they offer, the support that the college offers, the institute, in terms of alums who come and do the reviews, who come and do those mock drills with you, who you will call up, and say, hey, thank you for that mock drill, I converted, right? That is the value of of the MBA. And in courses, I feel that everything that I did in organizational behavior, driving change across people, driving new age thinking in legacy ecosystems, those things they stand out. They stand out effectively more for folks who come from schools like ISB, more so than I see in other people. We're more adept at handling these things.
I'll take this moment because when he mentioned alums, the alum network of ISB is great. I cannot express this enough or appreciate this enough. You can reach out to any alum at any point of time and they'll be ready to help you. And I think that's one of the things that has helped me this far in ISB and will continue to help me. Vinny, Ankit, any parting thoughts for our aspirants?
Yeah, I think you're at the right place to start with. And for me, I can say definitely ISB is the best investment decision I've made to invest in myself. And I feel like I've evolved so much. I've become not just a better product manager, but also like a better person, I would say. Like learned so many things just to conduct myself in real life and how to, work with other people effectively. So it's a and make great friends, and these friends and these alums are for life, right? You can, like, the power of ISB alum network is, just cannot be overstated. It like anything that life throws at you, there is someone to help you out, and you never have to worry too much about not getting the help. You just have to ask. So, and yeah, it's a great business school. You will have a lot of fun, of course, a lot of learnings, but also a lot of fun. Just staying true to the SB name. So yeah, I'd say you're at the right place. I hope some of you take this step forward and get to ISB and experience it yourself.
Vinny?
Like Ankit said, you are in the right place and don't hesitate. This is literally one of the best decisions that you're going to make. Nobody, gives you that sort of ready experience the way ISB does. It's tried and tested. Right? Look at the alum network. Look at the way we work with each other, the way we, help each other, support each other. It's worth it. And then both for aspirants and folks that are in the game, I know they're leading very hectic lives and all. It's all worth it at the end of the day. When you're going to look back, you're going to find that this was the best investment and the best year of your life. You really feel that about it.
Yeah, I agree with everything.
There have been a lot of questions about Business Technology Club in ISB. Ankit, I think you were more involved with the club. Do you want to introduce the club and then I can take it from there?
Yeah, I mean, business and technology is, I don't think it's exclusively product management, but anything related to tech. There are a few ways it helps you. I think just coming from my experience, it helped initially, when you're starting just getting into ISB, you're just going through the courses, right? You're just going through the motions, and there's very little time to think about, like, or to plan anything, right? It's just courses after courses, right? So BTC would definitely will just think on your behalf, right? Okay, there's a students are going to need this session, or going to be, needing to be talk to these kind of elements like this seminar, right? Like if the people in product management or someone else. So basically, I think the club is a little bit thinking on your behalf and understanding what your needs would be like 2 months down the line when the placement starts, because you yourself cannot do it. You're really busy with assignments and everything. So there are dedicated committee in BTC who is thinking on your behalf, on the needs that you will have in the next few months and throughout the year, through the placement, right? And second is providing that support system. You can walk up to anyone, you can create groups, you can create, your own circle where you, a smaller circle where you think deeply about products and all. So really, giving an overall support in terms of getting you introduced to the right set of people, or getting you to the right seminars, and then of course providing the ground level support of everyday help coming from peers. So that's what my experience has been, and it was amazingly helpful.
Right. We are trying to do the same thing. We basically plan out the product management roadmap for the year for everybody. We have L&D coordinators who do this. Basically, there's a host of information and resources available in ISB and in the alum network that can help you get a PM job. But it is not always possible for everybody to access it correctly. What we do is collate all of these resources, talk to alums who are on the roll, and understand what will be needed for the next year. We plan out your whole year. We arrange sessions like, let's say in the first term, we arranged role clarity sessions. What does a product manager do? What does a project manager do? Or even a product marketing manager. Any role associated with business and technology, we provide those kind of sessions. And then we build on from there to the design thinking principles that both Ankit and Vinny spoke about. We recently had a workshop with Razorpay on it. So we connect our current ISB cohort and the BTC members to these resources in the correct way possible. And again, the alum network is amazing. You can always reach out to them. I think in product management, we have a great network ranging from Google, Amazon, Microsoft, Apple to startups like Misho, Uber, and all of that. So that is what BTC Club does. And yeah, hopefully we'll see you all next year in BTC and in ISB in general. Amit, do you have anything or?
Nothing. You can close the session.
Okay. Thank you so much, Ankit and Vinny, for coming here and talking to us. I think it was very useful, and thank you for sharing your insights on product management. A very candid session. And we'll reach out to you further for conducting similar sessions for BTC also.
Sure.
Thank
Yeah,
you. Thank
glad to be here.
you.
Thanks folks. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Vinny. Thank you, Ankit, for being part of this session. All the best to all the audience who were part of the session today.
Yeah, all the
Thank
best,
you for
folks.
joining me.
Yeah, hope to see you guys at ISB.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thanks.
Pleasure.
Bye, Vinny. Bye.
Bye, Ankit. Bye, Pragati. Bye, Amit.
Bye bye.